Hello all, welcome to a new episode of Getting to Know NILP. For those of you who may not be familiar with us, we are the Northeast Independent Living Program, also known as NILP. You'll be hearing this world of acronyms today, and we'll try to let you know what all of these things mean. We are a consumer-controlled independent living center that provides advocacy programs and services to people with all disabilities of all ages who wish to live independently in the community. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that receives funding via the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, along with some federal funding, in addition to our own fundraising efforts. Our independent living philosophy states that individuals with disabilities are the best determinants of their own needs and service choices. Through role modeling and peer counseling, we help to empower persons with disabilities to make changes in their lives, to become more self-sufficient and self-reliant. At NILP, we really are a community of people who, like our tagline states, provide peer-to-peer resources for people with disabilities. We work every day to create an all-inclusive environment, free of communication, attitudinal, economic, and architectural barriers for all people with disabilities, whether they have visible or invisible disabilities. I'm very happy today that we are going to talk about NILP's NERLC and the work that they do. And to that end, let me introduce my two guests today that are with me. To my immediate left is Rochelle Ramus, who's the NERLC Operations Manager, and also next to her, wearing a beautiful shade of pink, is Amanda Orfanos. We call her Mandy, so I'm going to call you Mandy throughout this interview.
Great.
And Mandy is the NERLC Manager of Older Adult Peer Specialist. So welcome both of you to Getting to Know NILP.
Thank you.
So let's get right into it. I talked about this world of acronyms that we're in. So let's start with the first obvious one. So what is NERLC? What does that stand for?
It stands for the Northeast Recovery Learning Community.
Okay, all right. And then also RLC, which I can say means Recovery Learning Community too, and you're one among a few in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In fact, I should point out that the NERLC, we are the only independent living center. There's 10 in the state of Massachusetts. We are the only one that houses Recovery Learning Community, so we're happy about that. So it's truly working people with all disabilities. So what is an RLC? What is your purpose for the consumers that you serve in the community?
So an RLC is a community of people with lived experience with mental health challenges, substance use background, and or trauma history who provide support to other people who self-identify as well.
Okay, great, Rochelle, and we're going to get a little bit into lived experience in just a little bit to find out. So, Mandy, you have anything more to add to that? Does that pretty much cover everything?
Sure,
as far
it
as that
does.
goes? Great. Okay, excellent. So let's get into lived experience. When a person is telling you and describes themselves as having lived experience, what does that mean to each of you? Rochelle, I'll start with you.
It means that they walk the walk and talk the talk. They have had similar experiences, feelings, just they know where we're coming from. And when I say we're, as someone with lived experience,
Right.
I consider myself that I'm able to support someone on a different level than someone who doesn't have that same experience.
Okay, excellent. Because really you have a shared perspective, so to speak, right?
Yes.
And Mandy, I'd like to get your thoughts too, but I'll just point out too that peer work is so important, and the NERLC is 100% peer-based in
Yes.
staff, which is very important to have that perspective in the consumers that you deal with. And Mandy, any additional thoughts about lived experience, what it means to you?
Sure. I live with lived experience. I identify as having an anxiety disorder, and I am able to communicate with other folks who are going through similar situations, and it's about establishing relationships and trust and building on that, and there's mutuality involved between myself, the person with lived experience, and the peer that I'm supporting.
If I may say, isn't this all about connection with others? I mean, that's so important, the work that you do, whether it's one-on-one or in groups and everything. You can really sit and discuss these situations
Exactly.
of lived experience and so forth. So that's great. So tell me about the type of work that you do in the communities that you serve.
Well, we provide one-on-one peer support. We provide trainings, events in groups for folks, adults from, say, 19 all the way to the end of life stages.
Okay, excellent and everything. Rochelle, any additional thoughts, or does that pretty much cover
That pretty
all
much
the
covers
bases
it,
with
yes.
that too? Okay, great. Now, what I'm curious about too is the coverage area too. We're talking about the coverage area in the communities we serve. NILP is located in Lawrence, Massachusetts. So are we talking a great part of Northeast Massachusetts? Can you tell me kind of the areas that you serve?
Sure. Well, we cover, like Mark said, the Northeast region of Massachusetts. That could be, it's from, say, Rockport, the Guerderland area out to Acton, and the Merrimack Valley.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So I also understand besides Lawrence, you also have a hub location in Lynn as well as that office we do have in Lawrence. And that's really to better serve your consumers on a more localized basis. So tell me how that works.
Well, we have, like you said, we have a hub in Lynn on Market Street, which is a great location. It's right in the downtown area. It's very accessible to folks who are taking the bus. And we provide, again, groups, one-on-one support there, and it's open. We have a few groups, a couple for older adults, one for younger adults, or the transitional age, and then one for the general public, two for the general public.
I see. And it's so important. I want to point out, too, that since you are a 100% peer-based, that is just so important. And I'll tell our viewers, too, please visit our website at www.nilp.org and look up the NERLC, and you'll see a calendar that they put in their monthly, and it's just amazing all the meetings and work that they do there. That's a good overview of all of it. So that tells you a lot right there. So if both of you could tell me about NERLC's peer support and what that means to each of you and why that is so important.
So for me, peer support is knowing that someone has at one point in their life felt what you're feeling at the current moment. Being able to not only say, you know what, I have felt that way, I've experienced that feeling, might not connect with the same situation, but the emotions that can lead up to a situation can be connected with on a deeper level with someone. So when I say I'm providing peer support to someone, it's not only listening to them, actively listening to them, but also sharing with them what helped me and how I overcame that particular situation that they might be going through.
It's sharing all these ideas and everything, and I imagine the person you're working with feels that much more comfortable to share as well. And that provides for a great open discussion that you can just take from there, which is excellent. I know that all of those who work in NERLC have different job roles and duties such as a peer specialist, community bridger, and so forth. Can you define specifically the duties of the people who work in the NERLC and for the consumers that you serve? Why don't each of you tell me what your duties are and what that comprises? So, Rochelle, you want to start? Okay.
So I am the operations manager, so I supervise the peer specialists on our team.
Okay.
We have a transitional age youth peer specialist who focuses on supporting individuals 18 to 26. We have general peer specialists who provide groups for people in the community via Zoom and or in person as well. They also can provide one-on-one peer support. So we have people on our team who are trained to connect with people via phone calls or in person and support our community, whoever needs that additional one-on-one peer support. So we have that. We also have a community bridger that supports individuals at the Tewksbury State Hospital. So our community bridger can have the opportunity to, when the person who is in the hospital is ready to be discharged, they can connect, the community bridger connects them to the community that they're going to be going into.
Oh, that's great and excellent and everything. I think what's interesting too, Rochelle, is before the pandemic hit, we found out new ways to reach people too, and we're certainly doing a lot online, aren't we? As you mentioned, Zoom and Microsoft Teams and so forth.
Yes.
There's a lot of different new ways we can reach the consumers that we serve.
Exactly.
Okay. And Mandy, can you tell me
Sure.
about the work you do and
Sure.
your feelings
Well, I'm
about
the
it?
manager for the older adult peer specialists, and I supervise them, and they provide one-on-one peer support to individuals, like I said, 55 plus, and we offer support groups for older adults as well.
Okay, great, great. Okay. What I'm curious about with all the important work you do, and say somebody wants to join the NERLC, what are the qualifications for a person? Say they're interested in working.
So if a person is interested in working for us,
Yes.
they have to have lived experience, however they identify that.
Okay.
So we've talked a lot about lived experience here today, but that's the main connection point for supporting people in the community. So like you said, everyone on our team has lived experience, which is why it's so important. There's trainings as well that they take in order to better support our community. So that's also good to mention. And overall, having that spirit of hope for others is key as well.
Yeah, I hope that has to be a big key to the work that you do. No doubt about that as well. So is there any cost for the service that you give to the consumers you serve?
No, there's no cost.
No cost at all.
Anybody can join.
Great. It's a question that comes up, and I'll point out at the same time at NILP, all our programs and services, they're all free through the funding that we receive. So that's terrific. So tell me more about what helps to shape the outcome of the consumers that you serve in a positive way.
I think meeting the person where they're at is one of the biggest things that we have to offer our community. Knowing that recovery can be so different for so many different people. You know, you might have someone experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing, but seeing it on a different way, and that is the point of connect. The experience might be the point of connection, but the feelings as well are also important to mention. So that's what I think, at least, to answer that question.
Some of these people may, and a lot of them may have gone through very difficult periods in their lives and may be very hesitant to open up and talk and everything. So I would think that it's so important that you've been through similar lived experience, so that helps bring it out of them. It makes them feel a lot more comfortable.
Culture is also a huge barrier sometimes as well. So on our team, we have people from different backgrounds, and we continue to grow to have access for those that maybe the mental health isn't a word in their language, but now with our experiences and the people we have on our team, we're able to support them and educate them on what mental health can look like.
And that can vary dramatically between different ethnic groups and so forth and cultural backgrounds.
Yes,
no doubt about that. Okay. So let's get a little bit more into the funding. I talked earlier when I was opening up about how we receive some funding from the state and also federal. NILP receives it from MRC, the Mass Rehabilitation Commission. So tell me about NERLC, that funding, where that comes from to operate in the communities you serve.
That comes from the Department of Mental Health. And for the older adults, in order for them to be eligible for the program, they are referred by the Aging Service Access Points. And in this area, it would be age span.
Age span, okay, very good. Overall, just to get your feelings on a philosophical level, why do you feel this work is so important that you do? I'm just curious how each of you feel about that.
Well, when I was younger, I was having difficulty, and I had a few therapists, and this one in particular was so warm and wonderful, and she didn't make me feel like I had a label on my head, and I had felt that way for a very long time. And she actually listened to me. She made me feel important, that I wasn't, whatever people call people with mental health challenges. And there have been many times in my life when people have just given things to me without anything in return. So I just want to give back what was given to me.
Oh, that's wonderful. And that's a great attitude that's going to carry things in such a positive way. Rochelle, how do you feel about that?
Piggybacking on that, being able to say, you know what, I see someone in me that I wish I would have known sooner. Having that support to know that other people might be struggling on their own and not having anyone that can listen to them, someone who they can talk to, someone who can say, you know what, I get it. And I want to be that person for somebody else, because when I had my experiences, people around me showed me the path that I am on today. Right. And that journey that they walked with me. Not just, oh yeah, there's a place over here. No, they actually walked with me and showed me the way. And I've been with this program for years, and I continue to learn and know new things about myself, but also about the program and how we can support people. Every day comes with a new challenge, but it also goes to show the power of peer support.
And I imagine you learn so much from the people that you serve too.
Yes.
And new ways of providing the help that they need too.
Exactly.
Okay, that's excellent. I'm just curious, I wanted to get back, and Mandy, I'll ask you this about, this is kind of a growing area of NERLC, but you're really working the older adult peer specialists, and I understand there's special training that goes into doing this type of work, certification.
Sure. Well, to be an older adult peer specialist, you have to start with the CPS training, and then beyond that,
CPS, just
Certified Peer Specialist
there,
training.
just so we know, it's,
The
as
state
I
of
said, it's a world of
Massachusetts.
acronyms, so
Yes.
make sure everybody
And
understands.
so,
Okay.
in order to be a COPES, which is a certified older adult peer specialist, the people take a training that was developed by the University of Pennsylvania. It's an evidence-based training.
Okay, excellent and everything. And I know that the director of the NERLC, Gabriel Fonseca, knows about all that and has training and all that as well. So that really helps push it too, especially with our aging population. Even though one can say we serve really all ages and all aspects of that. We all have these trials and tribulations at different points in our lifetime. So that's great. So tell me, all this great work that you do, how can one get in contact with NILP's NERLC? How can people reach you?
Well, our website is very informative. It's www.nilp.org.
Okay, thank you. That says it all too. And wow, you've all told us a lot of information about the recovery learning community and all the great work that you do and all the positive work. And I know I've sat in a couple of these meetings, and it's just wonderful to see the great discussions that go on and how that truly helps people who have their different mental health challenges that they have to deal with. So that's terrific. So thank you so much, both of you, for coming on this show today too. Thanks all our viewers out there for joining us on this episode of Getting to Know NILP. As Mandy said, you can look us up anytime on our website, www.nilp.org, whether it's to see an overview of all our programs and services, as well as the NERLC too. And you can also call us anytime at 978-687-4288. So thanks everybody for joining us today. Do look for us on a future episode where we will spotlight another one of NILP's programs and services. Thanks all. Have a good day.